Anthony Davis extends with the Lakers for an additional 3 years. An advantage that USC had by joining the Big Ten might be disappearing. And J.C. Jackson leaves Chargers practice. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is August 5th, 2023. And yes, I'm in the parking lot with a bar in the background. Did I just sleep off a night-long bender? I don't know, did I? Whatever. Let's enjoy ourselves by talking some LA sports. If you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. By the way, thank you once again. We have added even more subscribers to the Angeleno Familia. I appreciate that you know what we're trying to build here for LA. Now, before we go through the news notes, a look at the scoreboard. Oh, let me tell you something that just always warms the cockles of what passes from my heart. Beating the hell out of Slime Diego, which the Dodgers did last night. They rallied for 5 runs in the 8th inning. 4 Dodgers drove in 2 runs each. James Outman hits a home run. Dodgers 10, Slime Diego 5. The Dodgers have a 3.5 game lead in the NL West, but that's not over the Padres. That is much more. As far as we know, the Padres are in the fiery depths of hell, and they can stay there. Meanwhile, the Sparks lost to Washington 79-77. LA, they're on a 3-game losing streak at 9-18. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers play Slum Diego again at 5:30. Ryan Yarbrough makes his Dodger debut. He is 4-5 with a 4.24 ERA. Blake Snell 8-8 with a 2.50 ERA. And Angel City, they too are in Slum Diego. That game is at 4:30 in the NWSL Challenge Cup. But let's start with the Lakers. Anthony Davis will stay in LA through 2028 after signing a 3-year extension worth $168 million. This is according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The deal per year is the richest in NBA history at $62 million. Bananas. But I gotta tell you, yeah, I understand why it could be a risk, which we will discuss in a moment. But I still am going to say it's a good idea for a couple of reasons. The primary one being that Davis, who is now 30 years old, is the bridge to the Lakers' future. I'm not saying he is the Lakers' future. I'm saying he is the bridge to the Lakers' future. Because for Pete's sakes, it can't be LeBron James, right? LeBron James is pushing 40 for Pete's sake. Those commercials about Father Time competing against him, and Father Time is Jason Momoa. Yeah, eventually Momoa is going to win one of those things. Anyway, the other, number 2, I like the signing because this puts to rest a lot of ridiculous, unsubstantiated Laker rumors. Oh, the Lakers, they're going to move on from Anthony Davis, so they're not going to offer him an extension. Oh, the Anthony Davis is going to leave LA and play for the Chicago. He's not leaving to play for the Chicago Bulls. Stop it. So yeah, I like it when unsubstantiated rumor mongers who put that crap on for clickbait get beaten down. The obvious thing for the Lakers to do was to keep Anthony Davis, which they did. And finally, the other reason that I like it is when the Lakers are at their best. When they're at their best, they play the inside-out game. They tried positionless basketball very briefly about a decade ago. It was an absolute disaster. The only team that really knows how to play positionless basketball is the Golden State Warriors. That is their kink. That is the way that they play ball, which is fine for them. But for the Lakers, they play the inside-out game. The best possible center coupled with the absolute best possible point guard. When it works, they have the best center and the best point guard, and they win titles that way. Consider Wilt and Jerry West. Consider Kareem and Magic. Consider Shaq and Kobe. You can even go so far as to say consider Kobe and Pau Gasol. Although I don't think Pau Gasol was the best center in the game at the time. Either way. You don't even have to think Anthony Davis is the best center in the game right now. If you say Nikola Jokic, considering last year, I understand why you would say that. But still, if Davis isn't number one, he's got to be at least top 3, wouldn't you say? So basically what that means is that all the Lakers would have to do once LeBron decides to leave is to make sure they get the absolute best point guard that's available, and they'll still be in the running to win titles. So that's what makes this such a good idea. Now, the deal obviously comes with risk. Obviously. Since Davis was brought to LA in that blockbuster trade with New Orleans, he's only played in 194 of a possible 307 games with the Lakers. The man is so injury prone, whenever he slides on the floor, people poop bricks. The man is so injury prone, if you recall, in the last playoffs, an entire panel of ESPN pundits were throwing dirt on the Lakers after the very first halftime, when Anthony Davis had to leave to go get his back looked at. Remember? 15 minutes, oh, the Lakers are screwed, they're going to get swept. Anthony Davis came out and played the second half. They assumed Davis was out for the rest of the year. That's how injury prone Anthony Davis is. So, all in all, I'm still going to say it's the right call. But yeah, it is a bit of a risk for the Lakers. Acknowledge that. Anyone else notice how the Pac-12 is completely imploded? Literally. Like all those videos that you would see of stadiums that where a bunch of explosions would come off, and that stadium that a bunch of Midwesterners grew up in would just basically flatten like a pancake. That's the Pac-12 offices as far as I'm concerned. Because what, in the span of a year, it went from the Pac-12, I think they're the Pac-4 right now. 3 more teams left last night. But let me drop some knowledge on you about this. Because of USC and UCLA, and by the way, they took a lot of grief for leaving for the Big Ten. Even the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, was trying to score cheap political points by crapping on USC and UCLA for leaving for the Big Ten. I guess you were wrong, Gov. Start working on a real problem. Like the water, the homeless, etc. Sorry, forgive me. I was about to go off like Rush Limbaugh there. But look, I'm trying to tell you that USC and UCLA did the right thing, because if they didn't do it first, it would have been Oregon. And by the way, let's talk about Oregon, because they're trying to go to the Big Ten. And why does this matter? Because if you recall, about a decade or so ago, Oregon football put up billboards in Los Angeles, and the idea behind that was to recruit in LA, to basically let all the elite athletes in LA know that they didn't have to necessarily go to USC or UCLA, that Oregon would be more than happy to take them. The recruiting message then was clear. But what USC did, once they started saying we're going to the Big Ten, is you could go into a recruit's house and say, hey, do you want to play in front of 100,000 people in Ann Arbor, Michigan, without actually having to live in Ann Arbor, Michigan? How would you like to play in the Horseshoe without having to actually live in a crap hole like Columbus, Ohio? That's a selling point. That was absolutely a selling point. Well, that used to be an advantage that Oregon could not offer a student athlete. If they wind up going to the Big Ten, now they can. And that takes away an advantage that USC had gained from deciding to switch conferences. I thought about that 2 nights ago. I wrote it down, and then all of a sudden the LA Times printed the same thing. So I guess I lose that little race to that opinion. But the bottom line is USC loses an advantage. The other day on this clip, I wondered about Corey Foreman over at USC. He's been off to a very slow start trying to adjust to the college game. But Lincoln Riley, he comes out and he says, oh my gosh, Foreman has continued to progress. But the coach did not actually assure that the former #1 recruit in the nation would actually get playing time this year. Quote, right now, he's practicing more consistent with the least amount of busts that he ever has. He does continue to get better. There's no telling what that ceiling is, which is a lot of fun, unquote. The 1 year, $1.5 million contract. He signed with the Lakers. 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 He signed But how can we draw a conclusion from that? It's not like Lincoln Riley said, oh my God, we're finally seeing it. He's going to be a starter. Chargers quarterback J.C. Jackson, the guy had knee surgery last year. He lost half the year because of it. He left practice with knee soreness. That's suboptimal, wouldn't you say? Now, they're trying to say that it's precautionary, that soreness is part of the recovery process because you are trying to work out a joint that had major surgery. So I can respect that. But it's still major surgery, guys. How do we know everything is going to be just fine? We don't. I'm not saying the guy's out for the rest of the year, but that is a cause for concern if you're a Chargers fan. To make room for the newly acquired Ryan Yarbrough, who makes his debut tonight, they demoted Emmett Sheehan to AAA Oklahoma City. Demoted. Which is kind of odd in the sense that he was promoted to the major leagues from AA Tulsa. Sheehan posted a 5.63 ERA in 8 major league games. Now, as for Yarbrough, he is the 36th Dodgers pitcher to appear in a game this year when he does so later today. The franchise record, 39, which was set back in 2021. LA has also traded former big leaguer Cole Calhoun. I believe he was a former Angel. Yeah, they sent him off to Cleveland. The Guardians immediately promoted him to the show. And by the way, do you remember all those Nolan Arenado trade rumors with St. Louis? I basically was going through all the possibilities. Some of the possibilities had Max Muncy going to St. Louis. You know who didn't enjoy hearing about that? Max Muncy. Yeah. But Max Muncy eventually said, quote, when those rumors came out, it was a rough day for the family. They kind of started freaking out a little bit. Andrew Friedman talked to me pretty much right away and told me the whole deal and explained it to me. So we knew we weren't going anywhere, unquote. The nature of rumors in Major League Baseball, you know how it goes. UCLA football has landed a running back as part of the recruiting class for 2024. Derek McFall is from Tyler, Texas. The back has gained about 2,000 yards over the course of the last 2 seasons, but he has 20 touchdowns. 20. Now, McFall cited playing in Chip Kelly's offense as a reason that he's coming to Westwood. And there's a side note I wanted to give you about a guy who used to play UCLA football. The Chicago Bears have signed former Bruins tight end Mercedes Lewis. The dude has played in the NFL. If he makes the team out of training camp this year, the dude will have played in the NFL for 18 years. 18! And that's impressive. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're a Bears or used to play for the Packers fan. That's just impressive as hell. It would be the all-time record for years played in the NFL by a tight end, by the way. LAFC have acquired forward Christian Oliveira from Almeria in La Liga. He's 21 years old. He will be under contract with the Black and Gold through 2026. He's from Uruguay. And the reason that I bring it up is because LAFC have had a lot of success bringing in players from Uruguay. Consider Diego Rossi. Consider Brian Rodriguez. So they're going to try to make it 3 in a row. There are very few MLS writers that I trust, by the way. Tom Bogert is one of them. He's over at The Athletic. He really liked LAFC's moves during the transfer window. The one he liked most of all was adding Mario Gonzalez, because what LAFC needs, according to him, is a center forward, someone to play the middle right next to Carlos Vela and Dennis Bouanga. He also, however, lauded the Galaxy's acquisitions as fantastic work, given the restraints that were placed on the team by violating rules a couple of years ago. Bogert is also more bullish on Edwin Cerrillo, who they acquired from FC Dallas. He's really bullish on Cerrillo, way more than I am. Bogert believes that Cerrillo is going to start immediately for the injured midfielder Gaston Brugman. That if that is true, by the way, he is suggesting that Cerrillo could be the savior for the Galaxy season. He may be right. What do I know, right? I'm by no means a soccer expert. I'm a soccer fan. There's a difference. But did the Galaxy actually find their low-key savior in Edwin Cerrillo? No pressure, kid. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think about Anthony Davis staying in purple and gold. Tell me if USC recruiting is still going to be dominant if Oregon, in fact, does join the Big Ten. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. I'll be back home tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corcha El Queso production. Take care.